Jai Shri Ram. How are you? Welcome. Welcome to the 12th Global Ramayana reading. Just going to give it a few minutes, allow people to join us from different parts of the world, different timelines, different time zones, to weave in their stories in the epic story of the Ramayana. Welcome. Hello, Mona. Thank you for joining us again. And happy Diwali. Diwali, the festival of lights that has just gone. Triumph of light over darkness. And in the celebration of Diwali today, I have a little earthen diya, or deepak as it is known in India, here to honor our battles and to honor the epic story of the Ramayana. So welcome. Let's take a few minutes to ground, get comfortable, grab your glass of water if you need to, and of course your favorite animal. Ramayana, as I have explained before, is a story that is a weaving in a weaving, and there is something for everyone. My name is Srishti Chand Noor, and I welcome you today to the global reading of the epic tale of Ramayana. I'm just going to give it a few minutes and then we'll start. So for those of us who are joining us for the first time, I follow a certain structure unless I'm guided to otherwise by spirit. And what that means is I honor every being, conscious and unconscious, that wishes to be part of this reading. And so I open the space and we do a bit of the reading and then we close the space and we continue on. So if you're interested in any of the past recordings, you can PM me for any readings before reading 5 included. Any readings after 5 you will find here on this page. So welcome. Okay. So I'll begin by opening the space. You can keep your eyes closed or open. It doesn't matter. What matters is intention. The intention to be here, the intention to be present. All of you, not just the flesh and bones, your consciousness, your being, your higher self, everyone and everything that is part of your system that wishes to be here is welcome. And we open the space by giving thanks, honoring, and acknowledging the earth that holds me in her womb, Mother Earth, Father Sky, Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon. The upper worlds, the lower worlds, the middle worlds, the 4 directions, all seasons and cycles, the elements, all kings and kingdoms, kingdom of earth, kingdom of air, kingdom of water, all tribes, all teachers, all gurus, all shamans, all keepers of the sacred land, all keepers of the sacred beings of this land, all guardians, all protectors, Earth, wind, water, fire, ether, all elements within me and outside. I honor you, I acknowledge you, and pay my respects to you. Those present for the 12th reading, whenever, whichever timeline point they choose to be present for, I honor you, I acknowledge you and your systems, your constellations, your lineage, and welcome you to this reading. All forgotten parts of the system, all exiled parts, all those who wish to be present but cannot, but hold the intention to, I welcome you, I honor you, I acknowledge you. Anyone I have forgotten, I honor you, I acknowledge you, I welcome you to this reading. All gods and goddesses, all aspects, all creations of myself, any being, conscious or unconscious, I honor you, I acknowledge you, I pay my respects to you and welcome you to this reading, offering many blessings as Spirit wishes to provide to you in divine right timing. I honor the sacred fire, the sacred flame that bears witness to the story as it continues and finds its magic into your life, into your story. I honor space and time itself, the cosmos that holds everything together, Maya, the great illusion, all players, all shadows that wish to be present can be, understanding that protections of Shiva are in place, meaning that only love can enter, and all must leave once the story finishes for today. I honor you, I acknowledge you, your evolution in your consciousness. I pay my respects to you, your lineage, all of you that wishes to be present here with all of me that is present here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to the epic scale of Ramayana. Welcome. Okay. Okay. So, number 12 adds up to 3. And 3 is a powerful number, the number of creation. You need 2 forces to create a third. And so this reading is significant because it is timed right around Diwali, the triumph of light over darkness, and a point in the second Kanda where Ram is asked to depart, is sent to exile. So he receives the news, and everything changes from there. So it's quite a milestone in the story. If you're coming in now, catch up. There is something for everyone. There are layers and layers within layers. So really it is about just taking in what you will, and the intelligence, the beauty, the grace of it will work its way on its own, and that's not something that we program or do anything with. We just allow the magic to happen. So Jai Shri Ram. Let's continue. I'll go back to one more paragraph so people can just sort of remember, but the news has been given, and it is not good news, but Ram, holding the virtues of this conscious emanation of the Lord himself, receives the news with such grace, telling his mother, "You could have just asked me to give the kingdom to Bharat, his brother." Um, and so, for those catching up, the moot point in the story is Kekai using her boons to make sure her son is on the throne, and getting the other son, Lord Rama, to leave and depart from the kingdom while Bharat is established on the throne. Um, and let's see how that goes in the story. So we know that the king has fainted a number of times, and he's fainted on the floor again when she delivers the news. So when Kekai finished speaking, the text says, the king again fainted onto the floor. Then, as Rama gently lifted up his father, he told Kekai, "I do not want to live in this world as a slave to greed and passion. Like the rishis, I am devoted to righteousness. I would never give up the path of virtue for the sake of ruling a mere kingdom. Dear mother, there was no need in bothering my father. If you would simply have asked me directly," he said, "I would have unhesitatingly given you the kingdom and retired to the forest." Rama bowed to King Dashrath and Kekai and departed to tell his own mother the news. Lakshman, who had heard everything at the door, followed his elder brother. It was only with great effort that he managed to control his rage. So this injustice, this timing, this play of events that seems so unfair, such irony in the timing, and we will learn more as the story unfolds. Yet the grace with which it is heard, processed, um, and then, as we find out, lived. So, yeah. As the two brothers left the palace, a pitiful wailing was heard from all those who had found out about Rama's impending exile. Okay. When Maharaja Dashrath heard those cries of lamentation, he hid himself under the bedsheets in shame. So we're starting to get a sense of how the kingdom is responding to the news as it makes its way out of the palace slowly but surely. When Rama entered Kaushalya's apartment, he was joyfully greeted and ushered into his mother's room. When he came in, she immediately embraced him, saying, "I'm so happy, Rama. Today, today you will be installed as successor to the throne." So little does she know what has happened and how the world has changed and how the news will come. With great gentleness and humility, Rama replied, "My dear mother, please do not allow yourself to be overcome by grief at what I must tell you. Because of two benedictions that my father formally promised Kekai, Bharat will be installed to the throne as the heir. And this very day, I shall leave for Ayodhya to dwell in the forest for 14 years. Hearing this, Kaushalya immediately fainted to the floor. Then, after Rama tenderly lifted her to her feet, she bitterly lamented. What greater misery, she said, could befall me than this? It would be better for me to have remained childless. Why has death not come to me instantly upon hearing of this calamity? My younger co-wives will surely despise me now. By hearing their taunts, my life will be made doubly miserable. Until then, Lakshman had controlled his rage. So the younger brother is hearing everything. The mother is in shock. She just, yes, she's just coming to terms with it. And he, however, was no longer able to remain silent. This is the younger brother, Lakshman. He suddenly burst out, "O Rama, our father has become senile and perverse, being overpowered by lust. He has become a plaything in the hands of the wicked Kekai. Why should we passively stand by and accept this? A father, a king, or a spiritual master who cannot distinguish between what should and should not be done must be rejected. Rama, you should take over the government immediately before everyone hears of the king's decision to install Bharat. Besides, even if all the ministers and citizens have found out, if they are against your installation, I am prepared to annihilate the whole of Ayodhya if necessary. My dear mother, you should know that I, at least, am loyal to Rama. Indeed, I am ready to kill the foolish Dashrath if it is necessary to install Ram upon the throne." So the mood has changed. It was festive, the streets were alight, and everything has changed. And Lakshman is not happy. He's a protective brother um, that loves his brother a lot. So let's read on. Kaushalya, however, did not care for the kingdom. She only feared separation from her beloved son. She said, "O Rama, please, please, don't go to exile," she pleaded. "It will be more virtuous for you to stay here and please your poor mother than to go to the forest at the command of your father. Ram, if you leave Ayodhya, then I shall fast to death, for life will become unbearable, simply unbearable for me." Rama replied, "Mother, it is not possible for me to disobey my father. Therefore, you must give me your permission so I may depart for the forest at once. The order of one's father can never be avoided. Just consider how Parasurama beheaded his own mother, Renuka, on the order of his father. Jamadagni, likewise the sage, Kandu killed a cow at his father's command. Therefore, I too must obey my father, he said. Turning to Lakshman, Ram said, "My dear brother, do not allow yourself to come under the sway of an all-devouring wrath. Give up the idea of seizing the throne by force and accept the order of our father." So he is trying to talk to his little younger brother. Rama again addressed Kaushalya. "My dear mother," he said, "please do not torture yourself or talk about ending your life. After the term of my exile is over, I shall return to you. Therefore, Please give me your blessings so I may depart without any unnecessary remorse. Kaushalya, however, could only cry in desperation. Then Ram became stern and said to Lakshman, "You are both causing me more grief by opposing my desire to honor my father's command," he said. "I will not be swayed from my duty." So, young as he is, newlywed as he is, with desires bursting through his heart as he is, as anyone of that age, of that thought would be, he does the right thing. He is not swayed by comfort. He is not swayed by shortcuts. He is not swayed by quick fixes. And you see that. You see that applicable even now. We always have a choice. These are problems, these maybe not to this extent. The nature, the context have changed, the structures, the hierarchies to an extent have changed, but the choice between light and darkness, that has not changed. The stories can be applied even today, even now, even in your own context, in your own system, in your own lineage, in your own family, you know, all the situations that help us grow. So we have a choice to respond or to react. We can do it with grace, we can do it with tact, or we can just, just completely lose it. And that intention, and that intention determines the outcome more than anything else. So, just a little something there. As you see the story play out, we see how the characters respond. And as we observe detached and we just watch and we put ourselves there, what would I have done? How would I have reacted? How hard is it to be standing tall and standing true to one's values and ideals despite the pressures and demands of those outside us? And that shows the strength of character. And that's what makes your light shine. So, yeah, beautiful. So, then to pacify Lakshman, Ram said, "My dear brother, as soon as Bharat is installed, all of this will be forgotten. Then you will be able to easily give up your grief. Do not blame Kekai, for she is only an instrument in the hand of Providence, the real shaper of our destinies." Lakshman, however, refused to be pacified. He angrily retorted, "O Ram, it appears you have become important, for you have given up your Kshatriya reliance on personal prowess and are just surrendering to destiny. I am not such an eunuch. However, I shall subdue fate by my own power. I will install you on the royal throne this very day." So Lakshman's a bit young and hot-blooded, and he's determined to install his brother on the throne. He's looking at it here, whereas Ram has gone beyond this, has a bigger view, bigger perspective, an expanded perspective, um, of the relationship beyond the time, the outcomes, the consequences of his actions, and how he responds. And sometimes that's all it takes, really, considering one's outcomes and acting as much as one can with truth and integrity and grace. Um, and that is the only thing within one's control. All external situations are controlled by the great goddess, um, Maya, and Lalita Tripura Sundari, if you like, or you give it whatever name that you want. So, yeah. Hearing this, Kaushalya could understand that nothing could deter Ram. She then pleaded, "Oh, my son, you are determined to execute your father's command. Please allow me to accompany you to the forest." So the mother's heard him. She knows he has the will of steel. And her only negotiation could be to accompany her son to the forest. So she would have some chance of having some company. 14 years is a long time. Ram replied, "Dear mother, after being deceived by Kaikai and then deserted by you, my father would certainly give up his life. The foremost duty of a chaste and virtuous wife is to never leave her husband under any circumstance. He is her lord for as long as she lives. Regardless of how noble or religious a woman may be, she commits a sin if she fails to serve her husband," the text said. "A wife's duty is to please and obey her husband and no one else. This is the verdict of all scriptures. Please then remain with my father and wait for me, for I shall return after 14 years without fail." So here, and this is not instruction, this is what he has learnt, what has been passed down over the years, and he's simply narrating that um, to his mother. Kaushalya gave up all hope of accompanying Ram and then finally agreed to give him her blessing. Second, let's just take a minute for me. After giving Rama permission to depart for the forest, Kaushalya induced the Brahmins to perform sacrifices for her son's well-being. Kaushalya declared, "May you soon return so my happiness will be restored. May righteousness be your protector. May the demigods protect you, and may the celestial weapons defend you. May heaven and earth, the air, the wind, the land, the water, and all animate and inanimate beings protect you. May daytime and night, the sun and the moon protect you. May you be happy, O Rama, for my blessings shall go with you." Beautiful. So, the blessings of the mother given to her son as he departs for exile. Really hard thing for her to do, but she had to do it nevertheless. And so, this experiential plane, this body that we are born into, these experiences that we have, and it is only through the experiences that we will grow, that the shell opens, that we crack open some part of us that is a little bit in darkness, and we move and we evolve and we grow. And that is the beauty of life, no matter which form we are born into and graced with. Sita had heard nothing of Rama's exile. She had been waiting for him in happy expectation for many, many hours. When Rama finally entered the room, Sita could immediately see he was pale, perspiring, and greatly troubled. So Sita is Rama's beloved wife, and she's been waiting in the palace while he is gone, received the news, um, worked it out with his mother and his little brother, and now finally come back to his chambers. Rama was also not accompanied by his usual royal entourage. Sita inquired, "My dear Rama, my dear lord, what is the matter?" she said. Without hesitation, Ram replied, "My father has ordered me to leave the kingdom and go reside in the forest. Bharat is to be installed as the heir apparent to the royal throne. Utilizing two benedictions given to her long ago by my father, Kaikai has asked that her son be installed, while I am to be banished to the forest. My dear Sita, I have no other choice than to abide by my father's order," Rama said. "However, I want you to stay here. Go daily and offer your respects at the feet of my father and follow Bharata's commands implicitly. My dearest, I have come here just to see you before departing for the forest." So he's given the news. Hearing Rama's words, Sita grew increasingly agitated. Now, like Rama, Sita is no ordinary woman, and we shall find out. "With anger born of love," she replied. "O Rama, my husband, most excellent of all men, what advice are you giving me?" "It is the duty of the wife to share the husband's destiny. I must accompany you to the forest. A father, mother, brother, son, and daughter in law all have separate existence. A wife, however, has no choice but to follow her husband," she said. "My husband is my only refuge. Therefore, I am determined to follow you. I shall walk behind you and eat only after you have eaten. I will never do anything to displease you," she said. "And I shall remain happy to gaze at the hills, lakes, and rivers. I will never become tired, for I will feel secure in your care. I would not want to live, even in heaven, if you, my lord, were not there. O Rama, it is you alone that I love. Without you, I would surely die." So beloved Sita speaks her mind. She speaks of her beliefs on how she must serve her husband, that is her only refuge. So we learn a lot about Sita, who chooses not to be in the comfort of the palace, but to do her duty as well and support her other half, Lord Vishnu or Lord Rama. Because of her frailty, Rama was not inclined to take Sita with him. Thus, in an attempt to discourage her, he said, "O delicate lady, one has to endure great discomfort while living in the forest. There are no soft beds to lie upon, and one has to bear the onslaught of excessive heat, cold, and torrential rain. In the forest, one can only hope to eat fruits and roots. There is always danger from ferocious animals that stalk in search of prey. Considering these conditions, I could never allow you to accompany me to the forest." Rama's words of refusal made Sita tremble with fear at the prospect of separation from her lord, not the prospect of the forest. As pearl-like tears rolled down her cheeks like droplets of water falling from a lotus leaf, Sita replied, "As long as I remain with you, any inconvenience or danger will be of no consequence. O Rama, without a husband, a wife cannot live. If you do not allow me to go with you, I shall give up my life by taking poison, entering fire, or drowning myself. So Sita is very clear. She is not being left behind. Before my marriage, an astrologer predicted that I would have to spend a part of my life in the forest. Therefore, my dear husband, I know that it is my destiny to accompany you. To be with you is heaven, and to live without you is hell. Therefore, you must take me with you. Rama remained reluctant to allow Sita to accompany him into exile. Sita, however, felt as though she were falling into a great abyss of calamity. Thus she became almost mad. Fearing separation from her husband, unable to tolerate Rama's stubbornness any longer, she began to chastise him. My father made a big mistake in choosing you for a son in law. How can you think of deserting your wife who married you before puberty? Are you going to leave her unprotected and exposed to the stares of others? The citizens of Ayodhya are fools for declaring Ram is as splendid as the sun. His glories are without equal. I refuse to remain here alone while you go off into the forest, she said. Either you take me with you or I will take poison and die. So that's quite that's quite out of character for Sita. She is a very level-headed lady with a wise head on her shoulders and good values. And we see at this point in the story where she's starting to chastise her own lord, which is very out of character for her, but gives us a sense of her complete state of um, her whole world crumbling down, crashing all around her, and not having the opportunity to share in her husband's destiny, which is quite confronting in itself. Um, so let's read on. Let's check the time. Okay, just another couple of minutes, and we'll close the space. Crying bitterly, her heart tormented with grief, Sita was on the verge of fainting. Seeing her pitiful condition was more than Rama could bear. His heart softened and he took his darling Sita in his arms. Rama then assured her that she could indeed accompany him. So she has had this fit of fury and, really, really sort of spoke her mind and said, no, I'm not doing this. And she stood her ground. And the Lord conceded and said, yes, my darling, she could accompany him. So let's read on. Darling Sita, Rama began, I only tried to dissuade you because I did not understand the true situation of your mind. O Sita, I could no more abandon you than a wise man could give up his sense of compassion. How could I ever rest peacefully knowing that you were unhappy? Go then and give away in charity all your valuables, your clothes, your jewels, and whatever you possess to the Brahmins. As Sita joyfully departed, Lakshman, who was standing nearby, came forward and caught hold of Rama's lotus feet. With tear-filled eyes, Lakshman pleaded, "O Rama, please, please, allow me also to accompany you to the forest." Hoping to discourage Lakshman, Rama replied, "My dear brother, you must remain here in Ayodhya," he said, "to serve our two mothers, Kaushalya and Sumitra. Without your protection, they will surely be mistreated by Kekayi. To this, Lakshman replied, surely our brother Bharat will take care of everything. There is no need to be anxious for our mothers, O Rama. As you traverse the forest, I shall walk in front with my bow in hand, allowing you and Sita to enjoy the scenic delights. I will also gather fruits and roots as you sleep and stand nearby to guide you. At last Rama agreed. He then instructed Lakshman, you may certainly come, but first take leave of your mother. Afterwards, bring the two mighty bows given by Varuna to Maharaja Janak, the impenetrable armor, two inexhaustible quivers, and a pair of powerful swords. After paying your respects to sage Vashisht, return here with the weapons, and we shall depart. Hmm. So, so Sita and Lakshman have convinced Lord Rama to accompany him into the forest as they go into exile for a period of 14 years. That's a very big point in the story. Sita stands her ground, and Lakshman loves his brother so much he can't be separated from him. And such beauty that you see in the relationship. Simple things, simple pleasures, simple acts that mean a lot, that hold a lot of value in the relationship. Things that we find sometimes are forgotten and but can be revisited. And that is the purpose of story, to go back to our roots, to go back to to the head aligned with the heart, to go back to total alignment, to truth of who we are and what sits right and what feels right and what is right. So yeah, Jai Sri Ram. That finishes the 12th reading, and we are still on the Ayodhya Kanda. We have a little bit more to go. Probably another 2, 3 readings for the second set, just so you have an idea on how far we are. We have a fair bit to go on the Ramayana as well. Now, it's 8 o'clock now, running a little bit behind, so I'm going to close the space. Thank you for listening. Okay, I give thanks and send back all those who had come with love and gratitude for your presence, for your blessings, for all of you being here listening and taking what you will for your growth, eh, for your system's growth, and all the blessings that you need to shine your light into the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings to you, your family, your lineages. Blessings to all those that were present. I ask that you go back to where you came from with blessings from the kingdom and blessings from Lord Ram. And a special blessing to Parag, Thule, and Priyadhar. We are now on the 12th reading, and we send blessings to the entire family, as Parag was one of the reasons we started this reading. So blessings to the Thole and the Dhar family, to my parents, my lineage, my family, to your family, your systems, and to the whole earth family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Protections are now in place, and the space is now closed. Jai Shri Ram. Okay, so thank you. We went a little bit over today, but we're doing well on time. Just a quick housekeeping on the next session. So, this is a special month. We have three readings this month. We've just done the second. And so the next reading will be on Monday, the 30th of November. Same time, same place. Um, yeah, 2 weeks from now. So I hope to see you there. And whenever you weave into the story, many blessings to you. And Jai Shri Ram. And Jai Shri Ram from our Rocky and the rest of our animal kingdom. As inanimate as they look, they actually come back to life when no one's looking. So, love from the animal kingdom and blessings to you. Thank you, Mona Lisa Biswas. Thank you for watching. Thank you, and see you in 2 weeks. Jai Shri Ram.